Hello everyone, welcome to another camera review. Today, let's talk about Argus. Argus is a perfect example of Michigan just doing things right. They were the first to come out with a low-cost 35mm film camera, known as the Model A, released in 1936. This Argus C3 I'm holding is one of 2 million units sold, making it one of the most popular cameras in history. As of today, Argus is pretty much gone, with their website no longer loading and a Google search getting me no further. But before they disappeared, they were making inexpensive digital cameras throughout the 2000s. The word inexpensive kind of worries me because it can mean one of two things. It could mean they took the Kodak route and produced cheap cameras that still produce quality images, but at the cost of something like good plastic or an optical zoom lens. Or it could mean they took the Vivitar route by taking some mass-produced junk, slapping their name on it, shoving it into a blister package, and advertising some included free software on the front. I'm hoping they took the Kodak route, but if I want to find out, I gotta find an Argus camera. Fuck! So this is the Argus DC3185. Yup, they took the Vivitar route. It's in a blister package, it comes with free software, and the camera itself looks like mass-produced junk with the Argus brand name slapped on it. Oh yeah, and the only accessories it comes with is a strap and a USB cable. And now, the camera. I really don't know a lot about this camera, but I know it was released in mid-2000. I know it has a 3.2 megapixel CMOS sensor with a fixed focus f2.8 lens, but that's about all I know. And as for the screen, it is a cheap camera, so I didn't expect the screen to be very big, but 2 centimeters! 2! I thought my 2001 Nikon camera had a small screen, but this is on another level! An SD card towers this thing in size! Also, if you couldn't tell already, this thing looks terrible. But Andrew, it was a cheap camera from 2005. What did you expect? Well, I expected more than this. For example, here's my Kodak EasyShare C300, also released in mid-2000. This was Kodak's cheap option at the time, and the design still isn't great, but it's way better. Looking at the back first, you can see that Kodak was much more subtle with the branding, meanwhile Argus slapped their logo on the bezel in big holographic text. You don't want the logo to draw attention, you just want it to exist. I also like that the buttons are scattered around the camera on the Kodak because it covers all that blank space. The Argus just looks kinda bland with all the buttons in a row on the right side of the camera. The front is where we start to see the real differences though. You can see Argus tried with the shiny plastic surrounding the lens, but it juts out too far. The Kodak also has a piece of glass covering the lens, which makes it look far more premium than the Argus in my opinion. Another thing that makes the Kodak look better is this grip on the front. It's not a good grip by any means, but it fills the empty space there. Meanwhile, the Argus is so bland on the front that it looks like a point and shoot from the 90s. Also, these controls are so weird. Just look at a manual for this thing online. They're stupid. But my worst problem with this camera is the storage. Although it does have an SD card slot, it formats cards in a weird way, so my computer doesn't recognize the card. I tried plugging the camera in through USB, but it just told me I needed to reformat the card to read from it. Installing the drivers they gave me didn't help either. But it does have flash storage, and there shouldn't be any problems there, right? Well, there's problems. The 16 megabytes of internal storage is able to save 10 photos, so that's no big deal, but the problem is that the flash storage does not store the images properly. So every time I take a photo, I have to race back to my computer and transfer the image over before it corrupts. Damn it! Now for the test photos. They're alright by 2005 standards, but 3.2 megapixels? Looks more like 2. Colors look alright though. The brown color on the deck is a little overblown, but it still looks fine. Same goes for the red wall in this photo. It got the green bottle spot on in this picture as well. So the color accuracy is fine, right? Well, it was, until I took this photo. Here's the same scene on my M100 for reference. You know when you've been outside in the bright snow for a while and then you come back in and everything looks weird and dark? That's what this photo looks like. And now for a comparison. I'm gonna bring back my EasyShare C300 for this since they both have very similar specs. Now, obviously the Kodak is gonna have better color accuracy, but the Argus actually does better job with tint and white balance. You can see that the Kodak photo looks a bit purple here. If I increase the saturation on my Argus, it looks a little better, but I still prefer the Kodak. As for this photo, I definitely prefer the result the Argus gave me, but it's still terrible. And for this shot, I'm not sure who did better. The Argus made the leaves nice and saturated, but it got too much contrast and sharpening. The Kodak has a much softer image, and the contrast isn't cranked to the maximum, but it's a bit dim and you can see aberration on the window. I personally prefer the Argus here, despite the over-sharpening and lack of clarity. Okay, I don't like how the rest of the video turned out, so I'm gonna film it again. It's Saturday right now, so I really have to get this done. My personal opinions on this camera is that it's just a really sad sight. It's another example of a company just being completely ruined by the digital camera craze of the 2000s. You had Kodak, you had Polaroid, you had Vivitar, and you had Argus. So thank you everyone for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys later.